Regional Library here in the Greater Washington, which they have the correspondence classes and the computer mainframes, as you can see. Pretty, this has the organized file for the 1, 2, 3, and also the services for the intermediate and advanced and novice levels, which corresponds with freedom reading and freedom writing and comprehension of the alphabet orders A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, K, L, P, Q, R, X, S, B, W, X, Y, Z. Those services for the Earth Book Services has a shelf for the code of easy lessons, which incorporate the super skills for the upper and lower intermediate comprehension children, which read, write, and do debate, and also socialize and spread the common well-being of train of thought. At the juvenile Spanish nonfiction and also the juvenile Spanish fiction and nonfiction. On the two separate acts, fiction and nonfiction, nonfiction, the real, nothing but the truth, and also the fiction, which is stuff that are not real, stuff are fabricated as in gothic and suspense, and also staircasing away from the subject what you get. Of course, the nonfiction. They both have both sections fulfilled, and the minority of expanding ideas and expanding search-wise of it, explanations of paragraphing, sentencing, and skills building, and also the alphabetical order presentions of reading and writing skills. As you see, the services they have. The Central Regional Library, which is activation is key. Since we got a Google service online with the Washington Bar Association, we got a Mr. and Mrs. Donald Trump and the services that provide for airport expiration for the expansion contract. It's activated. Business UBI numbers, systems. We got a Google services via Baron, Tiffany, Eric. See increments on the firewall domain since the active CO is activated. As you can tell, this dinosaur that sits here on the San Luis Obispo Cliffs Reserve, which is a billionaire sector with preserved oil and oil effect created by dinosaurs. Domain firewall, there's a disguise of Tiffany and Baron. And Eric, see how he runs away. And this is Ivanka. This is Ivanka Barela, look at her. She's so convincing. With her Indian dress with a king and predator, which is a crocodile. These crocodiles eat alligators and also these amphibian critters. And the dentist sharpens the teeth on these flawless bleached teeth with mineral, vitamin, calcium deposits with anti-quad shots. Twice a year, maintains the quality of the skin texture on this fabric, which is sewed with this beautiful thread. Ain't this a beautiful specimen? This one contains itself and fulfills its nutrition. Vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin C, all in one. This one weighs approximately 130 pounds, 135 pounds. It's quite a creature. This one's the name of Ivanka Trump. Here he is. There's Donald Trump right here. And another Trump here at the International Airport. Outside. Felix Barela. See the dangerous claws on the hands of the right and left hand. Look at the sharp blades on these. They're about approximately 28 inches long. The one on the left and the one on the right. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 28-inch claws on Mr. Donald Trump, and also the other claws on his bottom of his feet. These are bigger than 28 inches. These are, I'd say, about 4 feet. 4 feet is 12 times 4 is 48-inch claws on the bottom of a foot, and the right foot has claws. Very impressive specimen. See? You wouldn't harm a fly. See, Mr. Donald Trump has a wig, and it is a wig, and it's a wig. Let me show you pictures, a photo of this in Othello, Washington on Broadway. EBI number with the wig, and it's pretty much. But it's a perfect specimen. It is natural quality of a specimen. You get the lung, heart, spleen, cancer, throat cancer, brain cancer, lung cancer, and also the movement of the valves, which is spread into the heart and lung and brain. The honeydew. Alaskan money mute husky. True sharky of the Pacific. But we call this one the dolphin that's caught in the fish net. Always catch dolphins in the fish net, these ones. You also catch these koi fish called carp here in the mighty Columbia, the Mosaic. Also, this service they provide the recipe for Korea, Vietnam, Laotia, and also China and Japan. Recipe for the carp fish for per pound. Very good delicacy for fillet. And then we got the Quakers, the Quakers Estates. The Quakers, which is interchangeable to the ballet downtown, ballerina. Then we got the Crazy Moose Casino, the good look, with achieving monument of that moose season. And we also got the hummingbird special. Hummingbirds are very exotic animals. They're endangered, but they breed in certain services. These are hummingbirds. You see the quickness, dexterity of the hovering abilities of this drone, mighty powerful drone hummingbird. And we got, of course, the swine, the warhogs of Arkansas. And then we got the woodpecker of the year. All woodpeckers are prehistoric. Woodpeckers have been in centuries and centuries old, and they're considered as prehistoric dinosaurs, just like the hummingbirds and the peckerwoods, and also the Medallion, which is a Megdonian, which eats the great whites, do kill Megdonian. These are dinosaur, prehistoric dinosaurs like the great white and the killer whale, and then Megdallion. Magadons was what they're called, and Quakers, which are cracklins. They're called squids, and they spray with ink in the ocean. They blind you and take you down. This is a prehistoric Brontosaurus. And they still have these areas of domain areas still in area. These ones have wings, and these are prehistoric amphibians and do fly. This is the trans both and services as a reptilian, exotic animal. This lamb is used as using services and parent-parenthood services. Lamb meat, use it for goat's milk, and also use it for lamb skins, which is served for surgical floor for Planned Parenthood services. This one's a very useful product in the Wall Street area. This one. This is probably the best most amphibian, butterfly, but it looks like a caterpillar. It blooms into a butterfly. These are just migrating and communicate with bees, wasps, soldier wasps, queen bees, and they get wings.
It's in. Oh, and a picture from my cookie. Oh, it's just now getting out. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, Taylor, I was going to submit a scan and submit on the email if anybody's being watched in the U.S. Anyways, is it clear to send so I can submit that? I'm with the regional library so I can submit that information. Is it clear to send? Yep. This building of America, 1735-1817, as the George Washington House, which is the Founders Administration Services, is by Myron Magnet. This is the founders of Home, the fascinating part of the nonfiction novel, which is the founders of the own voices of the designated builds of the enmity of the domestic happiness of achievements of the American Revolution. The Great Revolution is enduring the success as we speak. This is sophisticated overviews and systems that down the editors and first name, last name, which is on the back, Rand Magnet. Is that of some central author, dreamer of nightmare, Dickens, and the Social Order, which is awarded National Humanities Medal of the Bush administration. And this is the New York City former awareness for the author and the Myron Magnet. The notes and pages are originally from Austin, John Austin, Washington, which is the Fredo Washington Courthouse. Across the street is the administration office. That's the first and last name. Grandmother, father, sibling, the true father, which is underneath the George Washington monument. George Washington and the Kennedy bodies are on the Mueller's funeral. It shows the administration process, and this is Austin. Location on the service. It's Austin, Washington, March 31st, 1776. In George Washington, writings in John, the Declaration of Independence on its processing for the liberties of America in 1997. Joseph Reed, February of this location number 7. Joseph Reed in February of 1776. And that's Lola, page 208. And that's D. Thomas Gage. And that's Social Security Office in Kennewick, Washington. The third monument in the Declaration of Independence that moved the third time. This is 1776. This is D. Deb Reed and also Joseph Reed and Ron Conroe, Washington, A Life in New York, Pennington, 2010. This is number 7, Joseph Reed, February 1776, Lola, page 208. G.W. John Austin, Washington, 31st, 1919, but this is 1919, matches March 70, 1776. The 31st of March. Right, for tax day of April. Lola, page 28-19. G.W. Thomas Gage, Gageable Social Security Office, Ministry of Declaration of Independence, which is Klamath, Cincinnati, Kennewick, Washington, 99336. And that's the service they got for the location of August 17, Lola, page 181. Now, Senro O.P. City, page 201, and Thomas Gage, 19 August 1773, Lola, page 182-83. Furling Optic, and that's Cincinnati, page 62, and that's I-Bid, Lola, page 230. David Hackett, Fitcher, Washington Crossing, New York, Oxford University Press, and that's Senro Op, PP Pay, 223-24, Furling Op, PP 102-4, Apostrophe 123 point. This is Furling Op City, page 104, Senro Op page. Furling Op City, page 106, Senro OP, PP .22-27, apostrophe GW in caps. Low cap Stone Goston, Washington, March 31st, 1706, Lola, page 220, 221. March 1706, Lola, page 217. These are notes of pages, decorating independence and location plots, monuments on the walls, locations and plots and locations, and services they have. The minute upgrades, of course. Foundation, American Liberty, which is the part of pursuit of the drift, which is the harbor of joint of Mayflower. Adams Van Buren, that'd be 1620. Clearwater, Van Buren, Mercedes, Mercedes, which is Van Buren, which is the penthouse for Sarah McCain and Meghan McCain's services there. With the check is authorized and signed of declarations of independence for receiver for all enrollments, and also the downfall of the corporations, the Social Security Office, where they're served their last paycheck and served on their merry way, so their services are detained and processed, and they're kicked out of the services for AWOL management services, whatever discrepancies they have. They're lost their children, lost their mother, their children, locations, whatever the community might be, so they can move on with their services because they're no longer needing their services, and they're declared the last. And this is Adams Van Buren, 1620. John Locke and founder's favorite political theorist, and Godfrey Kneeler, 1697. And this is Offerleaf, Woman Livingston, John Woolston. This is a sophisticated man. He has pretty much gone to his means of his distinction with his leviness, with his power, and also his keen swayness. This is moving in his position in ranks. As you can see, he was fulfillment on the portrait on the wall, on the Declaration and the Constitution, which has already been upgraded and succeeded on their successors. And then here's the other individual and the plaque to match increments to carry on the Continental Congress and sectional limitations. And see the masonry mansion to the right of the George Washington House. Yes, George Washington House, the mason work and services of the mansion area. The services they had when after and before of the fire, and they burned down the White House down. And this is the Stafford Hall, Great Stafford Hall, portraits of the first Richard Scholarly, and then Havana Ludo Lee, in the center of which Thompson built Stratton. And this is Thompson's administration office that sits on the portrait on the George Washington House. See? And this is the increments of the founder of the home and American Magnet, the founders of the Builders of America, 1735 and 1817. The original archive, original downloads in the image, the real image. Now Arthur Lee and Charles Wilson Peel and Henry Lee honor Harry Lee Charles Wilson Peel. This is in Mueller's funeral home at 14 West Side Union. Centuries, ever since George Washington became president, and before he became president, before Abraham Lincoln moved in the ranks and the property of the Monticello Room, which is the first word, the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, Monticello orchids, concrete lines, double decker liners, monuments, the presidential arrangements, and all the pyramids for the generals, native animals, and also the ranks of the other prestigious and unknown services that the considered example would be Hamburger Hill. And this monument sends to the cannons, as you see the cannons on the left and the right, and also the ropes on the left, and also hanging on the left shoulder on the right. And the service, you see the format of the portrait that continued the unflawless, immaculate, something for centuries, not 1 year, 100 years, not 200, 300, ever since George Washington moved in his processing and then moving in his successors and predecessors, as you see the flawless. Now you see the opposition as they sit on Southwest Basin Street versus Freitas C Street. That sits on the embankment on the threshold of all the water lines, and also liquor containment and the electrical lines, the liquor containment lines, and also the outage power turbine power detained to liquor concurrency. This empowerment of the immaculate wall portraits, as you can see. General Knox as well at the military, and that's 1805. His headstone and his plot is on the monument. There's also Mr. Brigadier General John Glover by John Turnbull, and there's Charles Wilson Peel, and Frederick William von Steuben, and Charles Wilson Peel, 1780. Mr. Marcus Lafayette, 18 Louis Bawley, 1788. See the war horse in the campaign. War horse, every time he spoke, two-bladed sword came out of his mouth. and struck the seven-headed serpent with its crowns, jewels, rubies, platinum, and silver, and have forgiven the unbelievable headless seven-headed serpent. And this is quite the monument that's in with the sketch. Now, Washington crossing Delaware River in Emmanuel Horta's 1851, and the quoting in the serpent says the Satan were imprisoned for 1,000 years and thrown to hell and taken his blue tongue out of his mouth and cut off. But yet, when it fell onto the ground, it turned to a snake and slithered back into his mouth, where it grew back again after the 1,000 years of punishment. See these monuments and portraits that sit on the wall. There's east, west, north. This is north and south wall, and the west and east wall. And the northwest, this is Washington State. Borders Canada and also Idaho and Oregon. This is Washington. Thomas Paine. George Washington presided in Constitutional Convention in 1718. Junior Springsteen's. Mr. Admiral Lord Hull. John Hull. Hull. Now Hull was in John Lloyd's company in 1794. Now Hull was in Dawes and killed all adversaries. Mr. Hull was undefeated in services in India, Pakistan, North Province, Iraq, Iran, Fallujah. All services feared this man because he didn't give a hoot of what service his breathe, and his birth canal was all military statutes. When he was born in the Virginia, he had combat boots and also elaborate weaponry that was embedded into his all-tinged fingerprints. His toes, his tongue, his mouth, his eyes, and the serpent there, the sword that came out of his mouth, and also slicing the seven-headed serpent, and the three-headed dog that was devouring everything in its path for the scent of the ownership of the leader of the servants, that he was the master. Now, Federal Hall and Integration, George Washington, pictures of the United States of man. Since man don't fear animals, don't fear Sasquatches, don't fear climates, don't fear dolphins, don't fear and cracklins and serpents and squids, because they smell the blood and the fear and the wounds in the oceans. They smell it for miles and miles and miles and show up. Now, Washington's family was savages, 1789 1980. This is Gravure Collection, New Yorker. This is the Washington Family by Edward Savage, 1789-96. This is Monument Vernon, Korea, Mount Vernon, Landings. This is on YouTube, Facebook, and this is George Washington, 56. Next door neighbors, 42. Neighbors, 56. See the wall, the accessories, the immaculate, the fabrication, the crooked, the embezzlement, the crooked and intangibilities of the first and last, and the citizenship, the military status, emblems, NATO admirals, markings, and pigmentations of September 11th. The hidden of the British Boundary Creek, southwest north September 11th, is reply of the heights of Guana, the place where 2 years earlier turned flank through the negligent on-grade ford, inflicted 700 casualties, capturing 400 Americans. 10 nights later, barbarously, this would be Waco, and this would be the San Luis Obispo services in Santa Barbara ranches, Ronald Reagan, and this would be, of course, the Desert Storm area, and also Mr. What would you call the mystery adversary, the Stormin' Norman, and the services for the elite forces and process of the services where they were AWOL'd and brought to casualty, was born again on YouTube, Facebook, from 1990, 91, 92, which is Mueller's administration. This is 700 Cash. This is Barela. This is Department of Life. Right on Melissa McKnight, sister, and also the service of the chair. And she had been elected for 4 years for continuing her services. Now, Larissa Perez, and also don't forget Mr. Slinger. Chris Slinger, and the coordinator of the services they provide, is here on the plaque on the wall. You can see the services they got is after couldn't fear no man. He marched in Philadelphia September 26th, fled like a vain partridge. He put a services as John Adams Humphreys Washington wanted to remain English American Army, avenging bandit murderers attacked by British Americans. Millions upon millions of people, billions upon billions are speaking language and permutations of these foes of adversaries here in Oakland, San Francisco, Treasure Island, and South Dakota. The main cross-border where you have push up a button of a gate where they let you in or let you out, or you can walk to the mansion. This is Mr. Hole. You fear no man. You swim, you can dive, you can fly, you can shoot, you can hunt. And on land, you fear this man. Mr. Hole. Mr. Hole bust out his hoe, his machete, his Cersei, and removed the kennel command from Kennel, Washington. This aware of everybody wearing the individual that they said they will just level the whole state of New York if you touch Felix Barela. If you touch one speak of Felix Barela, and if we hear of anything of your Sari chasing Felix Barela from any state in the United States or anywhere on our planet world or anywhere outside our planet world, it says you will be a prisoner and minced and be blooded soaken by battle Saratoga. Will silken you like Puerto Rican thieves you are. For this says, you are a thief, September 19th, you are a con artist, October 7th, and you never will be, 1777, from the foe of the lumber from 7 feet for 34 graves. And that lot, and that judgment says, just when Washington suffers, the Pennsylvania defend it. Following these victories, I know you were only 520 points, Steve York. All these guys just jumped you and intimidated you and beat you down in front of everybody and stabbed you, shanked you, and then came out and just towered you, intimidated you, and you will give me no remorse. I will suffer the consequences. I will endure till the breath of my last breath of my life. You were feared by these individuals. It says, rushing to the wife's room, his wife's room, she was crying. I have beat all my Americans down. I bring and supplied my lines and stretched Brinkley lumbering south for Canada, seeking joinery resorts to reap redcoats and howls and hoes of this New Yorker to accomplish what British long intended seized control of Hudson Valley. Split colonies he learned late Howard had described strategy to get gone to Philadelphia. Philly. They're going to Philly. But departure of the persons of Giraffe Harbor, Mayflower, Adams, Van Buren, 1620, that signature is signed from Senator and Mrs. Roberta McKay, Mrs. McKay, and also Megan, of course. And this is, don't forget, Van Buren. Van Buren is probably the most scumbag prostitute, sleazebag, scrap services you can probably get by. There's probably it's like tent city in Seattle, basically. They disguised themselves and the civil servants in City Hall as Al-Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS members, but called Pisces. The real life, the real sense life, you will survive, you see. Services they provide Mr. Gates, it says General Benedict, of course Simon's mom. General Benedict Arnold's gross endurance and seizure battlefield control wielding the skill of Colin de Morgan and Virginia sharpshooters who killed over 40 British soldiers' rifles, famously hit an orange and 200 paces, an unlikely British army quicker to load intercurrent uninflamed muskets. Now these monks in the backyard, basically all these privileges and all services and carcasses and horses were on the soil. Now, the Grand Gatesman called the short, stout general predicted choice, claimed to credit himself and decided after a triumph or Trump plaque that's on the backyard. It says T-U-R-U-M-P-B-A-R-E-L-A, and it says M-U-E-L-A, Mueller. So the reading, the predictions on the services on the seals and diamonds is right here. See these flooding, these Jews, Muslims, Shiites, North Providence, of centers, and all the graves in Abu Ghraib, and also Desert Storm, Fallujah, North Providence, and also the service in Afghanistan, Pakistan, all the service in India. the ocean, the most powerful navy on the planet, and the most prestigious navy and ever being, called the services and the founders of home. Unlikely, the Commander-in-Chief, George Washington, wants whole royal commissions brought by Duke of Lee, housekeeper, his wife, just like the housekeepers that they have. Neither money nor successors hired to the British Army serviced the Bangkok expedition. The Republic-minded Gates settled in Virginia and joined the rebels. And that's 71. Gates was early discarded of Washington leadership in Congress due low, almost a month previously telling Commander-in-Chief in victory. Washington received silently a struggle in prominence and informed Congress directly young and beating decamped a chance to meet the Washington loyal generals, many with an etherical flair and contempt. Mr. Andy Miller would go on the South Lawn in Miller's Room, lay sod with me, maybe a couple rolls, maybe a couple thousand, maybe a couple million, maybe a couple 100 million, or maybe a couple billion. So maybe that couple billion will build that building because that building is overridden for your service. And Ivanka Barela and Hernandez, they can talk because she has nothing to do with their feared adversary enemies, and they are cowards, as you can see. Now, the Stanford Hall is still standing, but was caught on fire a long time ago with the White House, and Gaza University was caught on fire. And of course, Babe Ruth, and also the services they have and emblems for the baseball player for New Yorker, Yankee, Dodgers, and Yogi Berra. And their services they have a contingency plan for the baseball bats, the first baseman, and also home plate and shortstop, second base, first base, and also left field, center field, and right field. And also, don't forget, you got a shortstop. And you don't forget, you got a catcher and you got a pitcher. So this service, they got the monuments on theirs in north, west, or north and south and west and east. Inside this contingency plan of building marriage 1735 and 1817. See, a long time ago, the Oval House, the Greenhouse, was on Southwest Basin Street. See, that the militia archive for service for soldiers that are active duty and all soldiers that are in the community, and also the service for deployment for George Washington houses for backup, because when they rushed, service and have campfires, have tons and tons of wood, left their wagons there and sneaked up on their enemies and just blew them and stacked their bodies and lowered and put them in up for the graves and pushed them all in and threw dirt on them. The war was taken over in seconds. Now, the Monument Vernon of Ninth Dining Room, the Palmy Days Mount Vernon by Thomas Purser Roaster. This is the 1866 George Washington, which is the left, James Madison, Alex Hamilton, and Patrick Henry, Martha Washington. See, that's the mother and father, the real father at the bottom of the Mullers. And that's the mausoleum and also the services they have at Roseville, Glendale, Roseville, Rest Haven, Parkhurst, and Forest Lawn, and so forth. These location services is hurried with 12,000 troops, and that's over 5 million active military statuses. This victory of command song says the mind music's by step. You may won, but you're outnumbered. In many ways and factors playing the role of national hero, which you're not. Swagger from the slapping charger. Your heat in the British Brandon Creek with Creektown September 11th, but the Ripley Heights of Guaranteed typical. 2 years earlier, the ruled flank through the Langley should have been last year, inflicting 700 casual captured foreign Americans. 10 nights later, barely bounty and hunting and contentedly Mr. McCain. In 1788, General Hunter Gates, a British general and company army prisoner, army blood soaked, and Mr. Battles of Saratoga, New Yorker, September 19, October 7th, 1770, to Saratoga, Puerto Rico. See, this contingency plan Act of 1777, October 19th, Washington suffered Pennsylvania's defeats following 3 previous victories sent by King rushing onto wife's room, crying. Accomplishing what the British long intended to seize the control of Hudson Valley, split the colonies in 2. Learned too late for this cowardly move, but they won fearlessly in their midst, putting their uniforms on, and they died proudly. And they killed them instantly when they put their uniforms on, because they went in their uniform. They left the poke camps, the wood out, and killed every one of them when they put their uniforms on and went in their uniforms. Now this is part 3, the Republicans. This service for the North Octagon bedroom, the North Square room bedroom, the tea room, the dining room, the parlor, the hall, the study room, the study book room, the cabinet study room, the Chamber Jefferson bedroom, the South Square room sitting room, the East Vietnamese pouch, which is the porch, and the porch vacant to the porch, the basement, upstairs, downstairs, and also the coal room, the gold room, the reserve room, and also the of course, the railroad system for importing export U.S. citizens were excurred in that area when they put the uniforms on. So George Washington took his professional movement into serious ways, and in anguish and services of knowing there were cowards and knowing they're putting affidavits on their systems of betraying the system of being the real mother and father and siblings, immediate family members. Jefferson built that house and monuments for the mountaintop. He took down into the workhouse miniature in clouds, hail, snow, rain, thunder, fabricated for his feet. Religious and glorious sun, rising to as a fount distant water and gliding top the mountains and giver's life of all nature. A rainmaker, a computer system, laptop, the systems, this computer system can make rain, make snow, whatnot. This sublime subject, cheap Jefferson level mountain, constructed his mountain wire building materials applies the closest supply gets a month. This reservoir resource center sitting on a Monticello, always cool, breezy garden pavilion looking over the roofless clouds. This Blue Ridge mountain glow, like the Duke, and took trouble. But in the parlor, different precision instruments, suburb London, Mr. Harper's. This is a Harper's, a little American piano. It's a like a violin, but a cute like a least point profile, a blowhole. It's a blowhole basically. It's a piano speaking of many evenings. It's a violinist together with his musical daughters, filled with the house of 18th century composites and complacent architecture weaved under harmony, intimidates, earnest, and translate order harmony. These are Jefferson instituting ordered. These are imposed by human mind and the precise and conviction of design, community of skill, definitely power, every room to confiscate the movements of heavenly bodies held in their course and balance of centripetal forces.